Metzia Dafnun Zainamud base in the top of the page and top of the morning to you. We stand, Bezos Hashem, the Shiur Lunishmas of Emer Menachem Ben Akiva, Rus Bashalom Som Bas Moshe, Lefuas Chana Bat Sima, and Lefuas Aviva Bas Dvoiro, Ninacha Bat Dula Rochet Besoch Shachol Israel. We said last week as follows, and this page I promise you will be much easier. First of all, it's really an easy Amud, seriously. Not this time, it's for real, it's really easier. We're still in the little bit difficult topic of Oino, and we discussed the fact that when it comes to Hekdesh, there is no Oino to Hekdesh, right? The Gemara, for various reasons, the Gemara wanted to say that when Rabbi Yochanan and Rish Lakish argued about Hekdesh, switching money for Hekdesh, which is, let's say, less money or more money, right? Especially less money, but it's more money. I'll discuss that later. And we gave a little bit of money in order to redeem big piece of Hekdesh, yeah? We gave 10 shekels to redeem 1,000 shekel animal, yeah? Is it enough or isn't it enough? We said it's machloikes. Now, the Gemara wanted to change that and say no, because of reasons we had before. The Gemara wanted to say no. Rabbi Yochanan and Rish Lakish, no, they both agree to Shmuel that really you can transfer that way. No, sorry, excuse me, the other way. Rabbi Yochanan and Shmuel, or Rabbi Yochanan and Rish Lakish argue about not about the big amounts, 110 for 1,000. They argue about the small amount, about the oino itself. And when we said yes oino or ein oino, yeah, when we discussed the difference in price between the money and the item being redeemed, it's a small difference of just a sixth. And even then, Rish Lakish wants to say that by oino, you may go back and dafka require, yeah, even though between two regular human beings, if it's less than a sixth, then we don't, care about that difference, right? If I buy something from Ellen, from Tzvi, from Shlomo, from anybody here, then we say less than a sixth is mechila. When it comes to Hekdesh, we say no, even less than a sixth is something that you have to give back the money, or you don't give back the money. The Hekdesh just doesn't go through. That's what we said. Now the Gemara said, how can you say that? We said what? Ein oino lekdeshos. Ein oino means there's no oino whatsoever. Yeah, even more than a sixth, at least a sixth, if not more. You're saying less than a sixth? Hekdesh is being so particular. So what do you mean ein oino lekdeshos? Lekdeshos. Answer the Gemara, and I'm starting from the very, very, very top of the page. Just the other way around. Ein oino lekdeshos doesn't mean that you can do whatever you want and you can give very little or a lot, completely regardless of the value. No, it doesn't mean that. It means pochas bichdei oino, ein oino, the sheer, the amount, the standard of oino of a sixth doesn't apply to hekdesh, because by hekdesh even less than oino is choizer. But that Mechavrusa wanted to say, answering someone's question, maybe Baruch, that it only works in hekdesh's benefit, in hekdesh's credit. In other words, hekdesh is particular. Yad hekdesh al elyon. Hekdesh is always right. Hekdesh is like a woman, is always right. Yeah, hekdesh, yeah, is always on the winning side. And therefore, if hekdesh doesn't get even less than a sixth, it doesn't go through. Ein hekdesh and oino lekdeshus. Of course, that's what it means. Oino equals 6 doesn't apply to hekdesh. Even less than that, even less than a sixth, applies to hekdesh. Nice. Okay. That's what we said. That's where we're up to. Good. Not everyone agrees to that, but that's what we want to say. Rish Lakish said, and Rabbi Yochanan said, no. Yes or no. Yes or no means what? Yes or no. That hekdesh too. When it's within a sixth, then the hekdesh goes through. Basically, we ask the question now from a brisa. What does the brisa say? Ribis ve'oino lehedyoit, then ribis ve'oino lehekdesh. To just translate the words without going into details. Ribis, you know what ribis is, right? Ribis and oino apply to hediot. I cannot lend you 100 shekel and ask you to give me back 120. Bis 120, I can't do that. And also oino, I can't overprice, underprice. The ein ribis ve'oino lehekdesh. Yet ribis and oino don't apply to hekdesh. Ribis and oino, none of them applies to hekdesh. What does it mean there's no ribis to hekdesh? That's a very good question, which we're going to touch on later. What does it mean? Can Hekdesh actually lend money to people and ask them to give them ribis? The Hekdesh body, the financial body called Hekdesh, can actually they can lend it with interest. Let's leave that aside. Do everyone here a favor, and that's not yet the issue. The Gemara will discuss what it means, but the main point here is the other item. Oyno. What does it say? Ein ribis ve'oyno lehekdesh. What does it mean? Ein ribis ve'oyno lehekdesh. Look, it says there's no oyno lehekdesh. So how can you tell me that within a 6, hekdesh is being particular? It says en oyno lehekdesh. Well, the answer is very simple. We answered already. The Gemara answers, what do you want? Mi alima mi masnisin? Why is the Brisa stronger alim? Why is the Brisa he's just bringing it now stronger than the Mishnah? How did we explain the Mishnah? What I just told you a minute ago. The ukimna betoyras oyno. We translated the Mishnah to say ein oyno lehekdesh. Not that you can do whatever you want, but the other way around, that we're more strict and we say that leeway, that gap of a whole 6 that you can maneuver, you can still, manage with, that doesn't apply to Hekdesh, right? We explained that. Yeah. Mimele hachinami, right? Ribis v'din oyno lehekdesh. Yeah. Lehediot, excuse me. Ribis and the din of oyno, meaning what? The din of oyno, the din, the standard, the amount of a 6 applies to Hediot. The ein ribis v'din oyno lehekdesh. Ribis and the din oyno don't apply to Hekdesh. The din, the standard, the number, the 6 doesn't apply to Hekdesh, but even less than 6, but Hekdesh is really what? Really still gets you stuck until you give the entire amount to Shlakish. You're not, you can't be part of the animal or whatever the Hekdesh item. So far, so good. It's even difficult to understand why did the Gemara even have such a question. It's exactly the same as the Mishnah said. Now we're going to see why the Gemara asked the question. So okay, let's summarize so far. So far, so good. Both Mishnah, according to this unique pshat, both Mishnah and Brisa, and whoever you want, according to the Rish Lakish in that particular explanation, which by the way is according to Rabbi Yomi, if you remember, says what? Ein oyno lekdish means what? The standard of oyno, meaning what? That you may over underprice above or under 6 and you get away with it, that doesn't apply to Hekdesh. But less than a 6, yeah, even one I don't know, pruta or one isar, whatever, Hekdesh doesn't forgive, or even less. No, Hekdesh you have to be on the dot. Okay, now, so what was the question from the Brisa? Why was the Brisa more problematic than Mishnah? Correct the Gemara, if you say that, then we have an issue here. Then we have a question. Hainu dektani seifa. It says in the seifa, ze choimer behediot mi behekdesh. Read on, Mister. Read on, says the Gemara. If you say ze choimer behediot mi behekdesh, it says at the end of the Brisa, this is where Hekdesh is. Yeah, excuse me. This is a place where Hediot is stricter than Hekdesh. That's not right. Bishlam, if you told me Hekdesh means what? That in Oyno you do whatever. Excuse me. That in Hekdesh you do whatever you want. It's a free market. Then it's very true to say Choimer Hediot mi Hekdesh. Hediot is particular. Hediot, if you're off the mark by 6, you're already stuck. You're already grilled. The Hekdesh, do whatever you want. You can give 1,000,000. You can give 10 shekels for 1,000,000, right? But if you say your new pshat, then just the other way around. Your new pshat, which you just came up with today, says what? No, that really Hekdesh is really stricter. Hekdesh, 1 agora, one thing. Already, you're off the mark. Hekdesh doesn't go. The pidyon doesn't work. Oh, so how do you explain it? How do you explain the line that says the choimer be'edit mi Hekdesh? Why is Hediot stricter, more stringent than Hekdesh? Answers the Gemara, Aribis. No. Aribis. Haha. You remember what we said at the beginning. There are 2 items here mentioned, Hekdesh and Ribis. Ribis is still true. Regarding Ribis, it's still true. What does it say about Ribis? Ribis, let's assume now, just for the sake of, keeping things in order, Ribis is something that a Hediot cannot give. I'd like to maybe lend people 1,000 shekel and get back 3,000. That's nice. I cannot do that. That's a choimer. It's a chumra on me as a Hediot. While Hekdesh, they can do whatever they want. And that's what it goes on. The words that Hediot is strict and Hekdesh apply to Ribis. they don't apply to the oino. Oino, really, hekdesh is stricter. Hekdesh is 1 agora off the mark and you lost. Frag the Gemara, if so, litni nami, ze chomer behekdesh, mi behediot, oino. If so, wait a second. You're really telling me that it's very interesting. There are two opposites here, right? You're telling me if I had a checker, maybe I should use the whiteboard. If I really have here, it's actually not too difficult. We have 2 boxes here. It's a chart with 2 boxes. Yeah. We have 1 box so far telling me what? When it comes to, hekdesh is strict. Hekder. When it comes to ribis, the hedyot is strict. The Torah is strict with the hedyot, to be exact. I cannot lend beribis, and hekdesh can. If so, 1 checker is missing. Because what did we say? And then we note, and then we sort of note, the Brisa brings me like an afterthought, telling me, you know what? Wait, this is the idea of ribis. By ribis, hekdesh, we see, excuse me, by ribis, we say that hekdesh is more lenient, and and the hedyot is more chomer. I'm more limited, and hekdesh do whatever they want. If so, frag the Gemara, says the Gemara, wait, why don't you also feel the other checker? Why don't you say the same thing that by hekdesh is stricter? Let me do this on the whiteboard. Rak Rega, I'll do this on the whiteboard. Yeah. Okay, let's summarize the question. The question is as follows. The poshet pshat, the regular understanding of en oino lehekdeshos, I said karkois, sorry, lehekdeshos, en oino lehekdeshos means hekdesh can do whatever they want. Hekdesh have the free range, yeah, in a way it's like, well, the hedyot is, hedyot can only have oino up to a 6. Once it's a 6, you get your money back. Beyond 6, cancel deal, right? We want to come with a new pshat to help Rabbi Yoina, Lefir, Shlakish, the old business we had before. We want to suggest something new and interesting and novel. We want to say what? We want to say really, en and lekdeshus means what we see over here in the chart means less. No, the other way. Less than a 6 is already strict. Less than a 6, and I know we don't have that leeway of a 6 to play around with and maneuver. No, 1 agora less, hekdesh doesn't go, and the redeeming didn't work. Okay, if you say that, let's put everything into pieces. You're telling me that the hekdesh by 6, less than a 6, is what is a problem. It doesn't go. Less than a 6 behavior, that's the easy street. That's easy. As long as it's within 6, then you have the margin of error. You can't complain. It's easy for the one who overpriced or underpriced. And then there's another section called ribis. Ribis stays as it is. Ribis is okay for hekdesh, whatever that means. Hekdesh may have ribis, may lend in ribis, and hedyot cannot. And then we added, so far so good, but then why did the Brisa add at the end of the day? I'm not reading from the inside. If so, it says at the end of the Brisa, hachi, line starts with the word hachi, it's a 6th line from the top of the page in Zayin Amud base. That's what the Sefer says, what it means when it says, right? We say, the hedyot is more chomer behekdesh aribis. When it comes to ribis, hedyot is, we are stricter with the hedyot, don't allow him to lend beribis. Well, hekdesh we allow. If so, wait, where's this box? Litni nami, the Brisa should also tell me the other way. You should tell me that hekdesh is stricter. The chomer behekdesh, hekdesh is stricter mi behediot ba'oino. Yeah. In other words, if I do business with somebody within a 6, we are buddies. It's okay, and even if we're not, halacha forces us to be. But hekdesh, no, down to the last penny. Where is it? Where is this checker? Elamai must be wrong to begin with. Must be your pshat was wrong, and really hekdesh here too is more lenient. Answers the Gemara a very, very beautiful answer. Hachi hashta, what does hachi hashta mean? Is that the same? Hachi hashta means, is that the same? Do you compare them? Bishlama ze chomer behediot mi behekdesh v'tuloi. To say that hedyot is more strict than hekdesh, that's the one case. V'tulo, there is no other case like that, or maybe hardly any other case, right? Because it's very, very rare for hedyot to be stricter than hekdesh, right? And therefore, that's an anomaly. That's not a normal thing that we're stricter with the hedyot. Hekdesh standards are always stricter. Whoa! The Brisa is showing it's a bird, it's a fly, it's a thing, it's an airplane. No, it's a man, it's Superman. Who ever saw a man flying? No. You see a man walking, I'm not going to come and tell you, no, guys, I saw a man walking. Of course, I saw a man walking, Baruch Hashem. If you see a man flying, you make a movie out of it. So, Mimela, that is a very out of the box idea. That's why the Bryce had to mention it. Ela Hekdesh, Ze Chomer Vetuloi. Excuse me. By Hekdesh, don't tell me, you know, Hekdesh. No, Hekdesh is stricter than Hediot, of course. What's a Chiddush? We always say that we are stricter with, not stricter with Hekdesh. I'm sorry to say, I'm sorry, but we are stricter with people dealing with Hekdesh, to be more exact. Sorry. I think that's where that was the words I was missing. Yeah. In other words, yeah, that's the idea. The fact that here we have the person who has to deal with Hekdesh, be it the Gizbar, be it my Shepsalu jumping around and it's an oiler with the moon, doesn't matter. If you deal with Hekdesh, of course we're always more particular with you. We want to get down to the last penny because Hekdesh Alaylu. That's not a Chiddush. Of course the Brisa didn't have to say that. But Shenken, between between Reuven and Shimon and Chaim and Yankel, of course things are more lenient and there's a 6 for maneuver. That's not such a Chiddush. That's not a Chiddush. We didn't have to add that afterthought. Shenken Ribis, to say that there is a leniency regarding ribis, maybe you can lend ribis, get from ribis, we'll see that later. That is actually out of the box idea, and therefore there we had to add and say, look, here is an exception to the rule, and here we see this is the choimer behedyat mi behekdesh. A quick one, yeah, it's I answered, fine. Ribis now, maybe now we can help Ellen and everybody else. Ribis dek the shechidami. Exactly how is the case of ribis of Hekdesh? Don't think we need this anymore. How do you technically have ribis through Hekdesh? How does Hekdesh money find its hands in the hand of, find its place, it's in the destination, in the hands of a borrower? How is that exactly? Ilema, because Hekdesh money, who does it belong to? It doesn't belong to anybody. It belongs to Beis HaMikdash. Who's in charge of the money of Beis HaMikdash? Gizbarim, the treasurers. It's called in Hebrew from the Gemara, Gizbar. Your new Hebrew word for the day, yeah, that is Gizbar. That's the word today too. Arya Beer is a Gizbar of Avos Shalom. Yeah, Gizbar is a treasurer. Hey Chidami, how exactly does that work? Ilema, if you want to tell me the Uzpei Gizbar, the Gizbar on his own accord, yeah, he himself lent. How much did he lend? Let's say Mea. He lent someone money 100, wanting back 120. Now, we assume that the Gizbar is not stam doing money, not doing business stam. Elamai, v'haloi mo'al hagizbar. Assuming the Gizbar doesn't know that this money belongs to Hekdesh, so therefore that is called Me'ila. That's called Me'ila. What's Me'ila? Me'ila, loosely translated as embezzlement. Me'ila in halacha means, yeah, it's called to embezzle. Yeah. That's in modern Hebrew, Me'ila is embezzlement. I know it's not exactly the same. That's exactly what I'm explaining to you now. It's not like a woman at top of the bank, like whatever, who skims off the money. Here we're talking about what? Mo'al hagizbar. How? If a person takes out money from the domain of Beis HaMikdash mistakenly, let's say money, there's also other types of me'ila by physical things, by metaltalin, money was given by the Gizbar to someone, not knowing that this belongs to the Hekdesh, right? Or in this case, by the way, in this case, he knows it belongs to Hekdesh, and he wants Hekdesh to make money. The Gizbar, in our case, I wasn't wrong that sometimes people don't know it belongs to Hekdesh. It happens many times. We saw it in Metzia, in Kiddushin. This guy is a nice Gizbar, Yeresh Shamayim, and he thinks he's allowed to give money of Hekdesh to the hands of a person who's going to buy with it bananas. Excuse me, the example I want to give: toilet paper and diapers and nappies, both diapers and nappies for the babies. Yeah, okay. He wants to buy whole things with the money of Hekdesh. Excuse me, you excuse the language, crazy? You are giving money of Hekdesh to a regular person to buy with it banana peels, to buy some stuff? No way. Elamai, you mistakenly thought, Mr. Gizbar, you can give money to the hands of not secular person, of a non-Hekdesh person. That's wrong. Elamai, you made a mistake. You thought that it's okay. Mistakes you have to pay for. Not only you have to pay for, now the Gizbar will probably have to, the main problem is, as the Gemara is going to say, Once Me'ila happened, and I'm telling you now, Me'ila can happen either when you enjoy, you benefit from the Hekdesh, or when it comes to money, things like that, transferring to another Rishus, another domain, another person, that itself is the Me'ila. Continues the Gemara, the Kevin Shema Gizbar, once the Gizbar took the mois in order to give them to the other person, and it changed hands into the hands of the other person who needs the loan from Beis HaMikdash and the Gizbar, then automatically the money becomes chulin. One of the magical things that happened by Me'ila is once the money, I mean, he still has to, I think he has to bring a korban, the Gizbar, person who's more, has to bring korban Me'ila, maybe enjoy it, loida. Lamaisa, it's wrong. But the Me'ila giving money, crossing the border, the red line between Hekdesh and non-Hekdesh, that's Me'ila, makes the money automatically chulin. The Kedusha just sort of dissipates and he's not there anymore. The Hedyot. Mimeli now they belong to the Hedyot. The Rashi says, oh yes, I was right. The Hedyot has to pay the Hekdesh care and the Choimish, Rashi says over here. And therefore, they belong now to the Hedyot. The Hedyot is the Chiyuv to give new money plus a Choimish, which is really a fourth, plus an Osham, by the way, a Korban. Lemaisa, this money is not Hekdesh anymore, and therefore, of course, Ribis applies to it. Which means once, ironically, it's kilo working backwards. Once the Gizbar, which had it, by the way, once the Gizbar gave the money to the guy, then automatically became chulin already in the hands of the Gizbar. Once the Gizbar Ki'ilu gave his own money to who? To the borrower, then of course there's an Issa Ribis. Because now, once the money, I think it's retroactive, I'm not sure exactly how it works, or at the moment of transfer, the money is chulin. Money of chulin, of course, Ribis applies to. We're trying to look for a case of what? Look for a case in which the money belongs to Hekdesh, stays Hekdesh's money, and therefore Ribis doesn't apply. That's not your case, mister. It's the wrong case. Because what do we say here? The money became chulin in the hands of the Gizbar, who now has to give it from his own pocket, other money, plus a fifth, plus a korban. Mimela, now, of course, Ribis applies. It's not even called money of Hekdesh. It's money of Chol. Money that belongs to who? Shprinzalovsky, the Gizbar. So your case is not a case. And that would apply to anything. Anything Hekdesh lends, in other words, if Hekdesh lends b'mezid, yeah, it's not even called lending. The guy's not allowed to use it, right? If it was a mistake and the guy went to Osher Ad and bought chitulim with that, right? The second transfer to his hand, it's considered as what? Considered as chulin. If it's chulin because of the Me'ila secular, made it secular, put the money off the derech, yeah, then what? Then it's not called Ribis of Hekdesh. So when do you have a case of Ribis of Hekdesh? Because it would always become chulin when you give it with the honest meaning of him to use it. Yeah. No, the Gizbar gave the Hedyot. Yeah. The Gizbar, somebody came to the Hedyot and asked him. No, no, it's a loan. Here we think it's mamish a loan with Doraisa mamish. Loan. In other words, as a person, he's a lone guy. He's very lonely. He's a person who now wants to borrow from Beis HaMikdash. The person wants to get money, and the Gizbar says, yes, let's do business. I want to help Beis HaMikdash. I'll lend you 10,000 and give me back 12,000. And it's okay because it's Hekdesh money. And you learned in Cheder that Hekdesh can lend with Ribis, which, by the way, is not wrong, as we'll see later. And therefore, Bevakasha, let's do business together. He's wrong. Why? Because the transfer was Shaloi Kedin, but it was a mistake, not Mazid. Yeah, Mimele, as I said already twice, the money becomes chulin. Of course, Ribis applies. The money now belongs to the Gizbar. Yes, once the Gizbar has it in says and transfers it, that very second becomes chulin. If it's chulin, then it's not hekdesh money. We're looking for a very weird case of hekdesh money being lent, and there's a heter of Ribis. When is it? Because once it's hekdesh money going out, it becomes chulin. And of course, Ribis applies to chulin. Chulin money is like my money and your money, where Ribis does jolly well apply. Are you my friend? No? Good. Yeah. You have money out of the yeah. So let's continue. I tell. Answers the Gemara. Omar Voishia says Rav Voishia like this. There are two answers, Rav Voishia and Rav Papa. Says Rav Voishia like this. Omar Voishia. What is really our case? The case is as follows. We're not talking about ribis doraisa, according to this opinion. We're talking about ribis dorabonon. It is true, by the way, at the end of the day, the hekdesh may lend money beribis doraisa, yeah, but that's not the current answer. They're showing him all stressed that. And what's the story? Keep going. We're talking about a supplier. Did it ever occur to you that there were people who had to actually supply goods to Beis Hamikdash? Let's say the person that needs to supply, he got the, how you say in English, the michraz, he got the, no, there's the word for it. No.
Succeeded in auction.
The auction, yeah. Like in other words, he got from the government, like people, they get from the government the rights to the bid. Yeah, the contract. He was contracted. Concession. Okay. So the person, Beseder, concession, it's a concession on my side. What's the story over here? A person supplies the what? For example, the wheat, the wheat, the kemach, the flour, to Beis Hamikdash for an entire year. Lucky guy. Lucky, but not so lucky. What was the story with this supplier? Kigoin, for example. Shekibel olav lesapek, to supply the person, what's his name? Ruvele. He has big, granaries, machsanim of grain in Haifa, in Yerushalayim, Angel. He was mekabel upon himself to what? To supply slotois me'arba. Before, there is a term which we'll see much more in Ezu Neshech, Yotzo Hashar, when the price was decided. In today's terms, prices are decided all the time. There's fluctuation in the market. Let's say at the beginning of the year, the beginning of Beis Hamikdash financial year, fiscal year, Beis Hamikdash is in Nisan. I'm not sure that's the case over here, but Lamaisa, let's say Chodesh Nisan, they sit down with the contract, very nice. The Gizbor of Beis Hamikdash sit with the lucky man, Reuven, the wheat merchant, the flour merchant, and they say, Kibel Olav, we want you to have a contract with us, unchangeable. You should be misapik slotos me'arba. Throughout the year, we want you to supply to us soiles with 4. Says Rashi, what soiles ba'arba? Arba sein besela. Let's say we want you for 1 sela. For each 1 sela, you'll provide us with 4. Yeah, with 4 sein. 4 sein. What? 4 sacks of wheat to make it more poshut. Yeah, let's say one seller would be 4 sacks of wheat. Okay, 4 bags of wheat. The omdu misholosh, and all of a sudden now what happened? Now the prices went up. The omdu misholosh, now in 1 seller you can only buy 3 bags, not 4 bags. The prices went up. And what is going to be with him? 2 months later, let's say Yotza Shar changed, and what's now? Now things are different. Now things are more expensive. And what's going to be with him? He's still giving them. Oh, so Lamaisa, it's like ribis. Kedetanya. Look what the Bryce says to say about changing the price and how it is not ribis, but similar to ribis. It says in the Bryce, Amikabel all of lesapik slotos me'arba. Let's say a person said, I will have a fixed price, slotos me'arba. Yeah, which means for 1 seller, I'll always give you 4 bags. Okay? The omdu mesholish. And they all of a sudden now sholosh. If there was a regular human being, what would we say? Price changed. I'm sorry. I changed the price because now I'll give you only 3. The tzapik me'arba, he has to stick to the old price, and now who's losing? Him. He's really, it's like ribis. He's giving Ki'ilu gave them more, right? He gave them the same for less. It's Ki'ilu, he gave them more sex. It's true, it's the same amount of sex, but it's for less money, really. The tzapik me'arba. That is similar to ribis, and that by regular human beings is not allowed to be done. Not only that, Rashi says you're not allowed to have such an agreement with people. We're not yet learning ribis. You're not allowed to have an agreement that we're going to have the fixed price. I don't know, Loch Lamaisa. You can't, before the Shar went out, I can't say, let's have an agreement throughout the year. You'll always supply me X, Y, Z according to the price that's now, even if it goes up or down. That's not allowed. It's not Helvo. It's not the Oraisa. But when it comes to a sale to business, it's a Darabonon Dika ribis. And let's continue. Misholosh v'omdu me'arba. What about the other way? Now he said every month I'll give you, every few months, whatever, I'll give you 3 bags for 1 seller. Now they went cheap. Omdu me'arba. Now you can get 4 for 1. Oh, wow, that's great. Mesapek me'arba. He sticks to the old expensive price. He's always losing because of the holy dogma. Because remember, but Metzia nun zayin base. Yad Hekdesh al Elyon means what? Hekdesh is always right. Hekdesh like a woman. Hekdesh is always right. But Lemaisa, we see what? We see there was a ribis darabonon here. A ribis darabonon. The regular people, you cannot do that. You can't say, oh, you promised me to stay with a cheap price. Now you're going to lose. Again, I'm not saying Allah Lemaisa. We're not learning Allah. We're not even learning ribis yet. We're only touching before getting to Ezu Neshech. You know that in a week's time we'll finish the Perk Be'ezras Hashem if we manage to get through Be'ezras Hashem. And then we'll start Ezu Neshech, entire parak, long and very, very easy. About ribis. We're not learning it now. Conceptually, Yotis cannot do that. You can't say we're sticking to the old price. Therefore, now, with inflation, you, the supplier, you should lose, which is really a hafuch ribis. No. But the Hekdesh can do that. Why can Hekdesh do that? Well, so far, it's a Rabbanon. Against Rabbanon, we're not goizel. However, the emes is that Hekdesh can really do real ribis, and that's the next answer. Rav Pope Omar. Rav Pope says something very, very interesting. I'm debating whether to use the whiteboard, but I don't think I have to. You let me know. Let's give you a small introduction. Did it ever occur to you that Hekdesh, if you were a builder, would you like to be a builder of Beis Hamikdash? Of course, says any boy with, bright eyes and shiny, of course, yeah. No, it's not so simple. If you're building Beis Hamikdash and you have stones that belong to Beis Hamikdash and you have cement that belongs to Beis Hamikdash, you have to be super extra careful not to derive any benefit from them, right? You can't sit on the stone, you can't lean on the stone, you can't get a little bit of cement, some enjoyment from it. I don't know exactly what. I don't know, take a selfie with it. In other words, if you work with holy matters and you're just a regular builder, yeah, then what? How did they solve the problem of the fact that there were regular po'alei binyan, builders, workers that worked in Beis Hamikdash, and they had to work with holy stones, working, using the stones, building the stones? The answer was, look what they did. No, actually, we don't say that. Rashi explains it. We'll see soon what the Gemara says. They used to do as follows. Beis Hamikdash would not buy the building material with its own holy money. They would borrow money. I saw it actually in the other Gemara too, in Tmura. They would borrow money, or they would borrow money from a third body, from the bank, secular money, buy the avonim, buy all the building material with secular money, or take it on credit from the supplier, and he believes Beis Hamikdash will pay him back. Build the whole thing when it's chol. All the poyalim can rest. Excuse the pun. They can rest on the stones even. You're not working on like briskers dealing with kedusha. Give me a second. Okay, and therefore, what we say, all very nice. Once built in Beis Hamikdash, and nobody touches it, and everything is fine. There's a question if you can walk by Beis Hamikdash. Maybe you're benefiting from the shadow, the shade. Let's not go there. Lamaisa, once built, and then it is kodesh, because regular workers are not dealing with it, no problem anymore. Then they would transfer and get their own money, yeah, and then transfer and buy it back and put the kedusha from their holy money of hekdesh on the stones. The stones would get kedusha, and they would give back the money, which is again secular, to the bank that they borrowed from. Bekitzer, we have a very, 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 very interesting idea over here. Those stones, listen to this, and I sort of hinted to you last time. Hekdesh always wears two hats. It owns something, like any public body, like the government, like the banks, and it's also kedusha, right? That's the story here. The avonim, they don't have kedusha. Those stones and sticks and cement and spachtel, they don't have kedusha on purpose, but the ownership is owned by Beis Hamikdash. Beis Hamikdash borrowed money. If I borrow money and buy a new car with the money that I borrowed, it's my car, right? So financially speaking, it belongs to Hekdesh. On the other hand, mitzvah, the kedusha is not there. Answers the Gemara. Now everything will be so smooth. Rav Pope Omar, Rakrega Tevakasha. Rav Pope Omar, over here. You know the case is. You know how you can have a case of Beis Hamikdash lending with ribis, and it's not a problem of Me'ila. The Avnei Binyan, we're talking here about the building blocks, HaMesuros LaGizbar, that are given to the Gizbar as secular entities. Askinan, that's a story, and soon I'll explain everything. Kid Shmuel, like Shmuel says that I just told you, Domo Shmuel, Boinin B'choil, Achakach Makdishin. Shmuel says what I told you in a long time. Shmuel says in 4 words, Boinin B'chol Achakach Makdishin. you build the stones with a secular, they belong to Beis Hamikdash, but to avoid nervin and problems, we still leave them secular, non-kodosh, because we bought them with borrowed money. Yeah. Only later we'll stick them in the Beis Hamikdash, and then we'll be all well. Now, what did we lend? Mr. Gizbar does something absolutely legal. He took those stones and lent them to someone. And he said, we are in Beis Hamikdash now in a building break. We are in the middle of a break. We don't need the stones exactly right this second. Mr. Regular Builder, I don't know, Mr. Moshe Cohen, Wolfson, whoever, they need now the stones to build with. Now they need the stones to build. What do we say? I'll lend you 10 stones and give me 12. How is that allowed? Say the Rishonim that there's a pasuk that says, we learn from the pasuk that Hekdesh is allowed to lend beribis. Why isn't it Me'ila? Me'ila only applies to holy things. That's not holy. It's Hekdesh, but it's not holy. And therefore, ribis applies to it because Hekdesh are above everybody. But mitzad sheni, I don't know what the pasuk is. The Riddle of the Rashba says, the pasuk says, I assume it's in Ezu Neshech. I looked in the psukim in the Chumash, again, I guess maybe Re'eu, Achiv, Amisecho, all these words probably, exclude Hekdesh. I asked a friend of mine, the Talmud Chacham, he didn't know either. If he doesn't know, for sure, I wouldn't know. The Kitzer, so then, but there is a pasuk that tells me that Hekdesh is allowed to lend ribis. And if Hekdesh is allowed to lend beribis, if there's no issue of Me'ila, and those stones don't have an issue of Me'ila because they're bought with secular money, Mimela Hekdesh is okay, and Hekdesh should lend beribis. Yes, yes, yes. I guess it's a lochel lemaisa. We are about to enter North Korea, but that's the last round of questions before we enter Cuba. Yes. Or maybe just one question. Thank you. Thank you. Now, long way to go, but this is much, much easier from now on. And in the Mishnah, we said 3 exceptions to the rule that apply to Ekdeshos, Shtoros, I'm starting the other way, and Karkois, Avodim, and Shtoros, right? Let's see how it works. Number 1, En Ben Teshlume Kefel. If somebody steals a piece of land, he takes hold of it. Somebody steals a slave. Somebody steals what? A shtar. Somebody steals Hekdesh. Kefel doesn't apply. You give the principal, the original money, the original thing, but you don't have to give the double. Minani. How do you know that? It says in the Torah, Bryce quoting the Torah, in Parshas Mishpatim, Al Kol Dvar Pesha, that it says about the Ganev who has to pay double, Kol Dvar Pesha, anything of Pesha, anything of wrongdoing, of crime in modern Hebrew, Klal. In other words, any kind of theft, you have to pay for double. And then it says Al Shor, Al Chamor, Al Se, Al Salmo. Then it starts giving you details. What? The bull, the chamor, the se, the sheep, the dress, prat. These are detailed items. Al kol aveda, and then again it says kol aveda. Asher yoimar. Al kol aveda, anything lost, or anything that he stole. Chazal v'kol al. Again, we're talking here about klal. We're talking here again about klal, prat to klal. Klal upatu klal, the famous rule of klal upatu klal. I don't think I have to explain this to this group. You're advanced enough to know klal upatu klal. Yetadan elakena prat, which means we're not completely restricted to only donkey and a dress and a thing, but we're not applying the rule to anything in the world either. It's somewhere in between, which means ma prat mefurash dover mitaltel v'gufon momoin, just like the detailed listed in the list are mitaltel, are movables, are mobiles, goods, movables, and their own body has its own value, soon as we see, as opposed to what? I've called over metaltel v'gufa momoin. So too, kefel, the special class of kefel only applies to things that are metaltel, and the own body has its own worth and is not carrying different value in it, which means who is excluded? Everybody in the list. Yotzu kalkois shenem metaltelin. Kalkois are not metaltelin. Last time I checked, the karka cannot move around. Yotzu avodim shuk shul kalkois. Avodim hopefully do move around, but avodim gzeras hakosuv are always compared to karka. Tisnachatem osam lebnechem acharechem. You manchil, you bequeath the eved like karka. Eved is like karka. Yotzu shtoros. What about shtoros? Shtoros can move around very nicely. No. Yotzu shtoros she'afu b'shemetaltelin. True. The shtoros are very easily movable, checks and money, but ain't goof and momoin. The own body is not the momoin. The actual A4 paper, the actual check that has, I don't know, 10 million on the check, the actual paper is worth very little, maybe more because a little of fake gold on it, maybe 10 shekels, 10 million is the spiritual value in it, not the real thing. So that's excluded. What about a Kadeshos? Why is a Kadeshos excluded? You can have something of Hekdesh, like a sheep, a goat, frolicking around. That fits the bill. No. Because the Torah says "V'gunav mibeis re'ehu." Still, I don't know the words exactly, but it's stolen from the house of his re'ehu, his friend. His friend, excluding Hekdesh. Hekdesh is Hashem, and Hashem is not your friend. Hashem loves you very much. Hashem is not your peer. Yeah. Next in the list, we say Dalet V'Hei don't apply to the extra payments of 4 times Dalet V'Hei, 4 times, 5 times over. Don't. Which animals do they apply to? Only if you stole a sheep, yeah, or an ox, yeah. The se is 4 and the ox is 5, and they don't apply to karka and stores and avodim anyways because it doesn't apply to. What about hekdesh? Hekdesh applies to animals big time. A lot of sheep and oxen are actually the clientele of hekdesh. Why is it if I stole, a sheep or let's say in your house you have a sheep of hekdesh, you have an ox of hekdesh which you want to bring to Beis Hamikdash and I stole it, it belongs to hekdesh, not to you. Why don't they have to pay 4 or 5 times over if what did they do to it? Stole and then I slaughtered it or sold it over. Yeah, tovach u'mochar. Why don't they have to pay 4 or 5? Answers the Gemara. Minani mili, how do you know that? Because my time, excuse me, the shlume dalet v'hei omar rachmono. The Torah says you only pay 4 and 5. V'loi teshlume shlosha v'arba. You don't pay 3 or 4. We just excluded kefel, the payment of. Let me teach you math. You have to pay 2. You have to pay 2 for what? Anything you stole, except for our friends, the new list. I stole socks, shoes, computers, sheep, and oxen, whatever. How much do you have to pay? 2. And top of those 2, if you're mechutzaf and instead of doing tshuva, you're mishtarish b'chet, you sinned even further and you shechted it or sold it on, then when it comes to the sheep or the goat, you have to add on top of those 2, either another 2 and 2 for the sheep, or another 3 for the ox, right? But if you don't have 2, you don't have 3, and you don't have 2 and 3. There's no tishlume 2 and 3. They only paid on top of the 2. If you don't have the original 2, the basic 2, which you don't, because it's hekdesh, you don't have on top of that the 2 and the 3 to make 4 or 5. Weiter. Oh, I want to add one thing. I think I have enough time for that. What did we say in the Mishnah? That's the only pointer in the Mishnah. There was a big discussion of Iyun, for us at least in Kolel. What did we say? Let's say a shomer chinam. Let's have a quick review. A shomer chinam, you let someone you ask someone to look after your teacup, your jug, my beloved jug. Yitzchak always, every morning, I know Yitzchak is on my side when he brings me this. So now, if somebody is looking after the jug for free, shomer chinam, what does he have to do? Pshia, if there was pshia, he has to look after it. If there was pshia, it's completely negligent, he has to pay. If he says, I wasn't negligent, and you say, yes, you were, then what does he have to do? Nishba. He has to take a shvua. Here we said, if he looks after land, he's a house sitter, and they stole, not the gold jewelry, they stole the house. Yes, somebody came behind his back without him noticing and took over the house, put his flag in the house, I'm boss, yeah. Or the Eved is an Eved sitter, the Eved ran away, well, he was, looking at his smartphone, the shomer chinam. Does he have to pay? That's a machloikis. One thing we see for sure, Eino nishba. In case we have doubt, he doesn't have to be nishba, and if there are no edim, if there are no witnesses that he was, swiping his phone like a zombie, instead of looking after the Eved, he was posher. If there are no edim, you can't force him to take shvua and he'll get off the hook. Let's say you know that he was posher. What happens if you do know he was posher? Big machlokas for shoinim. Rashi says that you have to pay. Shemechana has to pay. Why? Because it's like nezek biyadayim. It's like nezek mamish. It's beyond normal to be posher. It's not biyadayim. You being shomer makes it like biyadayim. It's as if you killed the eved. Masha'enken Tosis over here and in other places says no. He doesn't have to pay either because it's not a shomer. The Torah completely was mafkia. The Torah completely eradicated any resemblance of Shmira from those items called Kalkois, Avodim, Dash, Toros, Ekdish. He's not a Shomer. Why did he say, look after it? Stam. Like Mackenzie tells McKinley, I'll be your friend. Nothing. There's no halachic ramification. That's good for the Torah tells you. That's Machlokes Rishonim. But one thing everyone agrees to, Shvua for sure doesn't take. That's a Mishnah says. Minani. How do you know that? How do you know that the Shomer Chinim doesn't have to take Shvua in case of Pshia, or maybe he even doesn't have to pay according to Tosfos? The Tana Rabbanan, it says in the Torah, and I said it to you actually before, Kiyitin Ishel Re'ehu, it says in the first parsha of the Torah of Shomerim, it talks about Shomer Chinam. You know how we know that? It doesn't say Shomer Chinam. We know it because it says Klal, you give it to your friend, that's a general rule. Kesef or Kelim Prat. What are the items mentioned by Shomer Chinam? Money or Kelim, dishes, vessels. Because a Shomer Chinam wouldn't mind looking for free after money or Kelim, because those things, they lie in the corner, they don't woof woof, and they don't stink the room, excuse me, and they don't, fly the feathers, and they don't bite anybody. They're not animals. That the person would do for free. As opposed to animals, usually people look after the animals with money. With this is Shomer Chinam. The examples brought for Shomer Chinam are Kesef or Kelim. And then it says, Vegunav, Chozer, V'klal. Again, stolen is again general rule. Klal upatu klal. Again, big, small, and big. Yatadan elokena prat. You have to say the only items that Shvuas HaShoimrim of Chinam apply. Shomer Sachar will be dealt with later. Don't worry, it's not off the hook. We're not talking about Shomer Chinam. How do you know it's off the hook? Ma prat mefush dover mitaltel v'guf hamomoin. Just like Kesef Kelim. I always think of candlesticks because that was the one thing my neighbors used to give us to look after. So if you have a wad of cash, he told me to say wad of cash or candlesticks. Wad of cash or kelim, I'll work in it later. Yeah, if you have a buchta of cash or kelim that your neighbor gave you, they are mitaltel v'guf, right? They're movables and their body itself has value. Yotzu karkois, excluding karka, shenan mitaltelin. Karkois are not movables. The nichse delonaidi. Yotzu avodim, shukshu lekarkois. Avodim are compared to karka. Same story. Yotzu shtarois. Taurus are the same thing. Shafu pishim metaltelin and gufan momoin. Somebody gave you a whole bunch of checks, a whole wad of checks to look after. Remember good old checks before credit card? Then what? What do you say? He looked after it. Very bad. He didn't look after it. It got stolen. He was posher, or so you claim. You can't do anything about it. Why? Because the shtar's body doesn't have value. And gufan momon. It's only what's written in it. Therefore, they're not kesef ukelim. Hekdeshos. What about hekdesh? Again, same thing. Hekdesh is excluded. Only if your friend gives you the kesef ukelim, then everything else ensues. But hekdesh is not your friend; it doesn't apply. No, it's a sachar and a mishalim. Last but not least, it's very, very small. That's a lesson. No, it's a sachar and a mishalim. The noise is sachar. Everyone agrees. A shomer sachar does not. A shomer sachar by pshia is any chayev. There's no shvua. What is going to be nishba? Yeah. By shomer sachar. No, excuse me. A shomer chonim by pshia. Shomer sachar, of course, is chayev by pshia, right? He's also potter like the shomer chinam, right? And shomer sachar by, actually, it's not true. According to Rashi, it's not true. Again, you are mixing the Rishonim. No. Leave shomer sachar vis-a-vis pshia, because that's machlokes Rishonim. Leave them aside now. A shomer sachar is what shomer sachar is chiddush, a top of shomer chinam. No, everybody together. What does shomer sachar have to pay? The shomer chinam doesn't. GNA, gneva v'aveda, right? If there was a higher level of shmir, it wasn't pashia. It wasn't completely like a shakua on the smartphone. He was looking after it, but not well enough. Not the way he should have. He was looking after it, milamala, whitewashing it, moonlighting. So then that's called gneva v'aveda, that level. That level he's chayiv to pay because the shomer sachar. Had it been shomer chinam, would be potter. However, shomer sachar doesn't pay. Shomer sachar that looked after karkois, avodim, shtoros, ekdeshos, he doesn't have to pay. The noise sachar doesn't have to pay if he was, nichshal, was gneva v'aveda, he doesn't have to pay. Pshia is a different story. According to Rashi, I think Pshia does have to pay. Kol sheken. Shomer chinam has to pay, all the more so shomer sachar has to pay, right? We expect more of him. But shomer sachar's big thing, Rashi is very symmetrical and very nice, by the way. You get what's going on here? According to Rashi, shomer chinam has to pay for pshia, but not shvua, right? Now everyone has to pay for pshia. Shemer Sachar does not have to pay for what? For Gneva Vaveda. Yeah, the new thing of him that he doesn't have to pay for. Now, Netzia Sachar in the Mishalim. Minani Mili has, yeah, but here any has to pay. There's nothing to be Nishba. Nothing to be Nishba B'chlal. Nishba is in order to exempt. Yeah, Minani Mili. How do we know that here is exempt by Gneva Vaveda? Yeah, Minani Mili. The Tonobon, it says, Kit Nishal Re'eu, Klal, again, Chamor Ashar Oseh. Shemer Sachar, what does Shemer Sachar get? The animals. You want me to look after your donkey and your set? Please pay me accordingly. Moo, moo, how. Yeah, that's a different story. The protein mentioned there are Shemer Sachar's protein. Prat, called behema, sorry. Lishmo Chazor v'kolal. Again, it says Lishmo, to guard is general word klal. Klal uprat uklal yetadan elken prat, and we all know it by heart now. Ma prat mefurish dover metaltel v'guf hamomoin. I've called dover metaltel v'guf hamomoin. Anything that is movable, moves around, and guf hamomoin, its own body's worth. Only that the shomer sachar has to pay for if he was wrong. Otherwise, he doesn't have to pay. He doesn't have to pay for it. Yotzu kalkois she'enu metaltelin. Kalkois are not metaltel. Yotzu avodim shukshul kalkois. Avodim are like kalkois. So tushtoris. Shafel pish metaltel and guf hamomoin. Shtoris don't have their own value. Actually, asking a good question. I have to be honest with you. 1 second. I'm thinking now. I didn't think of that checker in the chart. He's asking if a shomer sochor in those items, if he can be nishba. In other words, he doesn't have to pay if he was gneva vaveda, right? He doesn't have to pay if gneva vaveda. Can he be nishba? I assume so. I assume he can be nishba. So we know to pater him. I assume he does. But by the shomer chinam, according to Rashi, he has to pay for pshia. Yet shvur we exempt him. Shomer sachar, if he doesn't have to pay for the gneva vaveda, and he said he was gneva vaveda, so we have to make him swear. No, you're right. Yes. Oh, good. Yeah. Maybe you have to make him swear about pshia. But about gneva vaveda, yeah, good. Yeah, machon. If he's nishba, it's not pshia, but he was gneva vaveda, then he's kilo like a shomer chinam. Everyone's brought down one level. Yeah, I think so. Good. I got confused. He has to swear no pshia, yes, because pshia b'chayv to. And by him, there's no ptur pshia, l'choiro, as far as I know from Rashi. Gneva vaveda, we treat him as if he's a shomer chinam. Say gneva vaveda machpatli. He's patronus. I think so. Kach nearly. I didn't go to all the cheshbonis, but that's what I think. Thank you very much. Atzlocha Rabbi B'chol Inyonim.